Hi there. Earlier today, HBO just had another big casting announcement wave for House of the Dragon. 7 actors, all of them in major roles. And I want to get focused to all of them, so I'm splitting up my report into 3 videos. Part 1 was on the Lannister guy. This one, they have cast all of House Strong. As of today, they announced the father and both sons that make up the House Strong characters in this. Well, all the legitimate ones. So let me go through this quickly. I'm trying to get it out fast. They have cast actor Gavin Spokes as Lionel Strong, who is the Lord of Harrenhal and serves on King Viserys' small council as Master of Laws. So he's an important member of the small council. And who is House Strong? Because they're not in Game of Thrones. During this time period, they are the Lords of Harrenhal, which, as they explained in Game of Thrones, if you haven't read anything, people say Harrenhal is cursed because no one holds it for more than a generation or two before their entire family dies out. That by the time of Game of Thrones, which is 200 years after this, it's held by House Went, who are the family of Catelyn Tully's mother. They explain that more in the books, but no one has held this thing for more than 30 to 40 years. And they befall one calamity or misfortune after another. Well, it's because Harrenhal is more or less the center of Westeros. It's the richest lands, most fertile lands of the Riverlands, all this fertile farmland, by the shores of God's Eye Lake. But the problem is that kings keep giving it as a political reward to various families or officials, and if you have a king's favor, you are not in favor of the king's rivals. So it makes sense. It's not that the castle is cursed, it's that they give it to high-risk people who are embroiled in politics, so it has a high turnover rate. That's not, oh, I died mysteriously of a curse. Most of the people that died holding it died during rebellions, because it's too hot to handle when you have a prize that big that everyone's fighting over. Because as the saying goes, don't fight a land war in Asia when you're playing Risk. It's not worth it. You go for Australia, you go for South America. That you can't hold Harrenhal. It's rich, so everyone's fighting over it. The Strongs themselves, they are an Andal family. They started out as just knights in the service of House Tully. Then, at the time of the Targaryen conquest, the Tullys raised the Riverlands in rebellion against the Ironborn who had conquered them at the time. They rebelled in favor of the invading Targaryens. They helped the Targaryens drive out the Ironborn. In return, the Targaryens made the Tullys overlords of all the Riverlands. And the Strongs were just a prominent family of knights in their household. They didn't give them Harrenhal then. It went to someone else. That family died after the Harroways, and then the Towers died out. During the reign of King Jaehaerys, during his era of peace, they said, okay, what's another family we could give it to? And they gave it to their trusted servants, House Strong. We've also seen some spy photos of the heraldry of House Strong appearing, which is nice, but they don't have a complex heraldry design. It's just, when you have geometric shapes, some of the houses have symbol things. It's nothing to write home about. Their heraldry is a blue stripe, a green stripe, and a red stripe, which is for the 3 forks of the Trident River that dominates the Riverlands. That you've got the green fork going all the way up to the swamps of the north. You got the red fork coming down from the hills of the Westerlands, and you got the blue fork in the middle. It makes the Trident. So they have the colors of the Trident on there. So it's a basic heraldry. I don't imagine this selling much merchandise. Also, it's never said what their house motto was. Lionel Strong is described as this big, imposing man, but don't let that fool you. He's also a very intelligent man. He's this great legal mind. He's master of laws. So he's sharp, he's cunning, and he's trying to advance his sons politically at the royal court. And we also saw spy photos. We knew that Gavin Spokes had been cast in this. We'd heard reports of it, and then we saw spy photos of him last week. Remember the video where I showed, here's young Rhaenyra and young Alicent in northern England, in Derbyshire, and we saw this man, and we knew this is Gavin Spokes, but who is he playing? And we suspected he's Lionel Strong because Lionel was described as balding, but we didn't see any specific heraldry. Here he is. So this is one of the, a few of the people that were announced today we do have spy photos for. Not all of them, though. We don't have one for the Lannister character, but for this one we do. Moving along, we get to Lionel's sons, who he brings to court. Playing Harwin Strong is Australian actor Ryan Corr. Now, I've checked for all 7 of the people announced today. All of them come from Britain, except for Ryan Corr. And he is the second Australian to join the starring cast of House of the Dragon after Millie Alcock as young Rhaenyra. Now, I'm not sure if he's playing older or young. I'm pretty sure he's older Harwin because he's 32. And will they have Rhaenyra chasing after a 32-year-old man? I'm not sure. That there might be a younger Harwin that we haven't seen yet. I'm pretty sure this is older Harwin. So I don't think he'd actually have scenes with Millie Alcock as they're in different time periods. Then again, maybe not, because it says his father's the Master of Laws. We'll have to see on that. There were a few Australians cast in Game of Thrones, like Lady Crane was an Australian actress. Locke, who worked for the Boltons, was an Australian actor, but not really prominent House members, and here they are. They haven't cast anyone from the United States or Canada yet. Like, just we keep track of these actor things. Like, they had Peter Dinklage, who's an international actor, but he's American. Or, Nikolai Coster-Waldau is Danish, but they haven't cast anyone else who's Danish. They pretty much just cast British actors in this, from one part of Britain or another, Scottish, English. He has a substantial career in Australian TV. It's just I haven't seen any of it because I'm not in Australia. Please tell me in the comments if you've seen him in something. I'm pretty sure we also have a spy photo of him, too, that he is the similarly dressed guy riding next to Gavin Spokes. But it's hard to tell because he's wearing, a long wig and a heavy beard. That I think this is Ryan Corr, in hair makeup. But I'd have to check that. I think this is the same guy. So he's Harwin Strong, who is the son and heir of Lionel. He's heir to Harrenhal. And he's called Breakbones because he's famous as the strongest man in Westeros. He's this great tournament fighter. And through a series of events, he becomes the sworn sword of Rhaenyra Targaryen. And this leads to filthy lies that he is the real father of her 3 sons with Laenor Velaryon. Which, okay, maybe they were having an affair. But Rhaenyra would know that she can't do that. 3 bastard sons, and just because they happen to look like her Arryn grandfather and not look like Laenor whatsoever. But I wonder how the show is going to play this. Are they going to give a definitive answer, or are they going to do what the books did, where they left it ambiguous of they could have been his bastards, but then again, maybe not. And lastly, we come to the role that's actually most exciting out of all these, because it will be a long-running major role in this show. Matthew Needham as Larys Strong, the younger Strong brother. That whereas Harwin is the strongest man in Westeros, the greatest tournament fighter of his generation, or almost, Larry is a cripple. Or that's what they say, that he's enfeebled, that he was born with a really bad clubfoot that the maesters couldn't fix. So he's always limping his leg, but his mind is really sharp. He's a very intelligent guy. And he becomes a spy master and a key advisor on the Small Council when he gets older. He's not the spy master in season 1, but when they do 30-year time skips, he eventually becomes the spy master. And, I call him Larry because I think it's so Varys, Larys. Everyone calls him Larry Clubfoot anyway. So he is also a major character, and it'll be interesting to see him do this. Matthew Needham is also an experienced actor, mostly a theater actor. He has performed with the Royal Shakespeare Company, and he starred in a 2016 short film called Stutterer that went on to win the Academy Award for Best Live Action Short Film. So he starred in an Oscar-level film that won an Oscar. It was a short film, but he's up there. Mostly theater actor, though. And the big thing you'll recognize him from, and I will put this clip, a link to it in the description box below. Check out the link below. If you've been watching HBO and you're a Game of Thrones fan, you'll remember him as he was in Chernobyl. That right after season 8 finished, Chernobyl came on, and it's why so many of us actually kept watching HBO, because it was really good. And it was also a savage criticism of a lot of the things we saw in season 8, that all of the official denial that things were going wrong and that it's too big to fail, and all those other tropes of you didn't see any supply problems, you didn't see logistics going off the rails. And then we saw like that Last Watch documentary that they have no idea what they're doing behind the scenes. As you'll see, the profile video I have for my channel on the front page is this 40-minute thing where I intercut the Last Watch documentary with clips from Chernobyl, highlighting the absurdity of when they were talking about it's too big to fail, this season 8's going to be amazing, and then they're going, why are we doing this? And just the catch-22 stuff of the corporate mismanagement, and no one's willing to tell the boss he's an idiot, and that it's perfect, therefore it can't fail. There is no graphite on the ground. He didn't have a huge role in Chernobyl, but he had a speaking role. He was in a couple of scenes. He was Alana's lab assistant at the civilian scientists around Europe and around the country in Russia just started noticing, whoa, all of our radioactivity meters are going off the scale. Was there just a nuclear accident or something? And Chernobyl was so big you could detect it half a continent away. That scene where he walks in, wakes her up because she fell asleep at her desk, and the instant he opens the window, their radioactivity meter spikes all the way to the top, and then they go, oh my God, something happened, because they're a nuclear physics institute. They have instruments to measure that. So then they check the dust on the window, and she goes, well, no, this isn't plutonium residue. That's what's in ICBMs. This is uranium residue. It must be from a reactor leak. And he's talking back and forth with her, discussing, well, could it be a reactor leak, a satellite, a test? And she's going, no, it wouldn't be that. No, that's what plutonium does. And he goes, well, could it be Chernobyl? And she goes, with a reading as high as 0.8 milliroentgens, no, because that's so high, Chernobyl would have to have its core cracked wide open to be getting a reading that high. No, it must be something closer than that. And then she starts calling all of the other nuclear facilities, and she stops at Chernobyl and goes, no one's answering the phone. The phone is dead. And they just have this silent look between each other that 2 minutes ago I said the only way I could be getting this from Chernobyl is if they had a full-on nuclear accident and they're cracked wide open, and they just have this silent moment of, oh God, it cracked wide open. So he was pretty good. I mean, it's short. He was really only in this one scene, but it's a major production that he was a member of. So check that out. That's where, if you watch Game of Thrones, you watch HBO, you'll probably remember him. Oh yeah, he was that guy in that scene in Chernobyl. And the weird thing is, he's actually 5 years older than the actor who plays Harwin. And like I said, I think both of them are playing their adult versions. There's no way you'd put a 32-year-old opposite 18-year-old Rhaenyra. But, casting is weird like that, and he has a very thin look to him. He looks younger than Ryan Core, even though he's a little older than him. And I don't know if they're going to play around with that. Like, Larry the Clubfoot doesn't get a lot of exercise, so he's not like this really bulked up guy. He would probably look sickly and thin like this actor. I don't think we ever knew who their mother was, though, who Lionel Strong's wife was. That I think she died. That wasn't in there. There are a couple of other legitimate children he had. It mentions he had 2 daughters, but they're never named. There is one illegitimate member of House Strong, which they haven't introduced yet, who would use the surname Rivers because she's a bastard. But she might not appear this season. Alice Rivers might not come until next season. So, for brevity, I'm going to split this off now and cover the rest of the Small Council next video.